what you pay for, you know? You could do this, man. You got this. Just stop crying. Stand up. This is kind of the VIP experience, though. They get to have the backstage. You know, if you're here early, you get to hear. It's the intentional added
value. Launch sequence activated. Accessing.
All right. We are on, what is today? Yeah, it is Thursday. I had to check the calendar real quick because I am once again super excited. Welcome to Computer Science Week Game Edition. We are on day, what is this, 4? I keep saying what day we're on because I keep forgetting. But I am really excited to have this very special guest. This is a friend and mentor of mine. But before I get to that, make sure going back because I'm cheating. I shouldn't be cheating. I clicked on the wrong person, but oh well. He's here anyway. He's on the screen, but I was going to say while I have him on the screen, we have other special guests, but that will be coming tomorrow. We have one special one that's already in the chat, but make sure that on Saturday I will not be streaming, but I will be streaming on Sunday. That'll be the final stream, but you can catch everything else on demand. But here is my special guest right here. This is my friend and mentor. This is the one that pushes my buttons in a good way. He's the one that's been, he actually was my, we go way back actually, but this past, what is it, semester, spring, whatever it is that you want to call it, he actually has been my mentor and getting me to start thinking about game design and game-based learning in a completely different way. And when like I said, when he pushes those buttons, he pushes those buttons. How you think about business, how you think about education, that's him. And so you don't know this, but yeah, people were impressed, Brian, in my graduate class because of. So
oh, nice.
Yeah, so they're like, oh, this is really neat. So without further ado, I present to everybody CEO of Cleverlike Studios, Mr. Brian Dickman.
Yes. Yeah, what's up? I like the little funhouse mirror effect we have going on here too for me.
Oh yeah, you're looking up on the side and stuff. Yeah. You're the Yep. That's me every day, all day. So we're gonna get into the Rube Goldberg and Unreal Engine, all that stuff. What people don't know, but well, I'll let you define both of those. But the Unreal Engine effect. Before I got on here, I know that could be intimidating for some people, but just so you know, just so you guys know. You've already been exposed to all that stuff. You've seen it in the Marvel movie. You've seen it. Where else have you seen it? You've seen it, of course, in the video games. I had to double check. I don't know if it's true or not, but it's in Wicked. If you haven't seen Wicked, yeah, I don't know where, but it's in there. It's most likely in most of the movies you have seen.
It's in Goonies.
It is in Goonies. Wow, I didn't know that.
When Chunk shows up to their friend's house and tries to get in the door, there's a big Rube Goldberg contraption.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. So I think there are some Rube Goldberg stuff in Wicked, but also, and I hate to make these the shameless plugs, but I'm just trying to make some connections here. I don't know about Rube Goldberg, but I know Unreal Engine is in the Mufasa and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just trying to make some connections here to show you it's out there. It can be used, and this can be used in your own home right now. But before we get into all that, let's start off with Brian. Who you are, where you come from. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Bradford. It's fun hanging out here. So I sometimes I'll give a somewhat abbreviated version of the story, but it all goes back to Bambergers. when my mom was a department store that my mom would take me to go shopping, and if I wasn't climbing under the clothing racks and being annoying, I was over at the camera department where the computers were. And that's where I first kind of fell in love with the Commodore computer because one of the things that appealed to me about the computer was the keyboard had two alternate characters associated with each key that were shapes. They weren't letters, right? And to me as a kid, words were not exciting, but shapes and patterns and creative things were more interesting to me. And so, but I didn't have the courage to use the computer, right? So I would watch over people's shoulders and learn, and got enough knowledge that the one day I went there, there was a computer program running on one of the computers, the Commodore. And so I knew how to stop the program running. It's the first time ever like sitting at the computer. My heart was racing, and I listed the program because I watched and learned how to do that. It was like 3 lines of code. It was just repeating the same thing over and over, but kind of shifting it each time. And asked the guy for a pencil and a paper. And so I wrote it down. I wrote down these 3 lines of code and I folded it up, and I was like, on my quest to convince my parents to buy me a computer. And so basically like from that point on, I finally did get the win and get the mom to cough up the dough for the computer, which was tough at that time. We, pretty humble beginnings, and it was a tough expense, but was worthwhile in the end. So a lot of like what I do today and the way I interact with kids today taps into a lot of that journey, that early journey for me, because I realized like I learned how to code. I connected with friends, total strangers. I reached out to them. Back in the day, it's like, forget about like online safety. Like literally my mom would like drive me to strangers' houses, like that was, there was no online. Right. So I'm hanging out with, meeting up with strangers and making connections and stuff like that. But the process of kind of making those friends, making those connections and learning together, sharing that learning and growing together, really kind of stuck with me. And that's what informs me today. So it kind of went on, and had a career in software, internet. I graduated right around the time the internet was commercialized. So I had a really fun kind of like business, life, and started a local business where I got to kind of do whatever I wanted. And I started to rekindle a lot of these old feelings and emotions and memories and providing those for kids, my kids and the kids around me. And so we got to the point where I hosted a Minecraft club. That's how we kind of met in the Minecraft realm. You got to see kind of like what I love to do there. But, I ran that for 5 years straight. I started to make my own clubs and camps and 3D printing and animation and electronics, and I was doing them at the event centers. I'm carrying all my stuff. I'd make my kids pack the car and go to the farmer's market and to the maker fair. And like, I was just wanting to share this with everybody. And so the thing that I kind of gained over that time period, not only like having kids and working with these kids, was the fact that it's undoubtable that they have like these this passion for this platform, like they love to be in it, and parents and teachers didn't understand it that much because they're busy living their life, doing their work. I luckily made my work the task of learning that stuff. That's how I learned it. Like I really knew nothing before I started a Minecraft club, other than my wife was like, she's a school librarian. She's like, every single kid wants Minecraft. You should go figure out what that is. I'm like, that's a good idea. And so I have to, like everything, I have to thank her for all the great things that happened to me.
Oh, hold on a second, folks. Are we back? Let me fix that audio for a second. You got ghosted.
Seriously.
you got ghosted.
Wow, I went over the limit. You didn't even play. You didn't even like have the orchestra start playing. Just a hard cut. Bradford runs a tight ship.
I didn't do that.
My gosh, I didn't even get the look or anything. You just seemed interested, and then immediately time was up. Immediately. Yeah, but anyway, like they kind of led me to the quest for taking what kids love about their favorite games and what parents and educators hope for those students, and a way to kind of invest that currency, that interest into those platforms to get the most out of it. And that's basically what Cleverlike Studios is a company that meets kids where they are with their favorite video games and provides them with fun and engaging experiences that lead them towards hopeful outcomes, both like in their work at hand for today, like the school work that they're doing today, and career skills for the future.
Definitely. And I know that's how we connected in the past. And now it's those tools that are out there, Minecraft, Unreal, all of those things. Somebody had to learn how to use those tools. And when we think about it, it's, oh, well, the adults have learned it at some point. But if we put it in the students' hands, and again, I'm trying not to get on a soapbox because me and you can get on a soapbox.
Don't get me started. You already got me started. That was my short story.
Well, let me try to condense it. The whole goal of our conversation is somebody used these applications somewhere, and like I said in the beginning, you see these in movies, you see these in games. Somebody had to learn this. Why not put it into the kids' hands, and where they can eventually get career skills later on? And everybody that's in this chat, everybody that I've connected with, we are all doing this outside of the 9-to-5 regular education and trying to bring it back into education so people can go to work and do something that they're really passionate about.
Yeah. The other thing is that you can't like start when you're ready. Like, I think that's part the disarming and uncomfortable part is like, you can't do all the work and spend all the time and get ready to do it. Like, part of it is you just have to like throw yourself into it.
Yep. Somebody in the chat said that earlier this week. I wonder who that person was. Sorry. Yeah, you're right though. You're right. You can't wait to get all the fresh new and wait till like the Unreal Engine like 8.9 comes out. Like, you gotta, if you got Unreal,
even like I didn't even understand Minecraft when I started a Minecraft club. Like, I could have studied it. I did it. I asked around to know, like, to get an idea, but really didn't have hardly any clue about it. And I think when you look at some of the really successful people in the space, they come from that attitude. They don't come from like, I must know all the whole sage on the stage kind of perspective. Like, they don't come from that perspective. They're teaching the kids like, okay, we're in this together. We're in the trenches. You have a problem. Like, I don't know, like, how are you going to solve that problem? I think those are really valuable skills. And the fact that the educator is giving them permission and guidelines and parameters and, opportunities to be successful is where you could tap into that motivation and get those outcomes. So, we see a lot of educators that like feel the pressure of knowing it all before they do it, and I feel like that's a hard place to be, because you are so beat, you're so dusted by these kids that have spent so many hours. Like, you would never catch up to them, so you can't wait to catch up to them
because they already got it.
They've been spending hours.
They've been spending hours on it. Like, I thought when my kids when the first Xbox, I hate when I'm dating myself, but when the first Xbox controller was like, oops, I'm hitting the mic, it was like this big, and they were trying to play the game like, oh, you'll never get this Xbox console is mine. Not no more. I mean, they surpassed me. So, I mean, they're surpassing everybody. So I'm like, oh, well, great. And I remember them frustrated, throwing down the controller. Then they would say, I will never get this. And then now look at them, they're 23 and 21. And I just had my son come in here, and he was teaching me about Marvel Rivals. Hey, you want this, you want this, you want this. And I stuck the controller in a sense like, are you familiar with the Xbox controller? Dad, I know that. I'm like, oh, okay. Because he's PC all the way. So, and Switch. So again, we can't wait. Like you said, we can't wait till the new comes out. It's all about learning it and not being sage on the stage. But
Absolutely.
Let's get into the two things that we want to talk about today. Like, I want to flip it first. Define for you and the people out there, define what Unreal Engine is. What is Unreal Engine? In Brian's terms.
There's a fun video that we play that kind of, it's an engine. It's like, it's not like a car engine. It's like because a computer soft, it's a computer thing made with software. But yeah, like Unreal Engine is, let's call it, it's a game development platform, right? Somebody created it in order to make video games. And it's funny, little anecdote here. I already told you Commodore 64 was my thing, right? Growing up.
I had one too.
One of the at Unreal Fest, walking down the street, I see Tim Sweeney walking at me, right? And so I'm like, holy crap, Tim. And I'm like, Tim. And he's like, oh, hey, stop. And I'm like, hey, how's it going? Like, thank you. We exchange it. And I'm like, so I'm curious, like, what computer platform did you grow up on, Commodore? And he's like, oh, Commodore. Like, you guys had like integrated graphics and built-in whatever. Like he was, I use Apple, where none of that was given to us. We had to make it all, right? And so that's a little window into kind of the rabbit hole that he went down originally to get to this place. Was he was on a computing platform that didn't have a graphics engine already given to you, so you had to make it, and you had to understand, if you wanted more from it, you had to understand it deep enough to actually create it. And so I think like it's really interesting to think about that, is that he came from a point of like, if you want it, you have to make it. And that's where like Unreal Engine is a platform. Like if you want things to be beautiful, if you want them to work fast, if you want it to be playable by a lot of people, if you want it to be, all of these, if you want it to be used in movies, if you want it to be used this way, it has to be, you have to make it yourself and you have to make it great. And so Unreal Engine is basically pushed by people that are being entertained by video games, and the demand for speed and realism and bandwidth and networking and all that stuff, and all of that technology accrues to an industry where that technology becomes useful. Like it's really, I joke about, like, what's really cool was like when I was going to school and you could actually type the letters on the typewriter and then make them hit the paper later. Like that was amazing. That was innovation. Like you could fix it before it actually went to the paper instead of having to use whiteout. So it's like we didn't learn word processing because everybody was going to write books, right? We learned that word processing is a way to communicate, spread information, articulate, tell stories, all the things that come with communicating. So that technology, while having a very specific use, has a broad application. And so a game engine is very much the same way. Like a lot of these skill, the technology in it can be applied to lots of different things. So fashion industry, live events, film and television, animation, urban development, civil engineers, architecture, all of these industries can benefit from this technology. And that's what we're trying to do, is basically replace the typewriter with the word processor, but just, in this century. And so that's what I see Unreal Engine as, is the platform that houses all that technology that is going to be useful in the future.
So it did start off with just the gaming aspect of it, but then it just transitioned into what we see today. It's all over the place. So, but how, I can't even recall, how did it get into like where I can literally like use it like right now? Where do we get to? I don't even know. Where do we get to the point where, oh, well, you can use Unreal Engine at your house? Because some people don't even grasp that concept. Like I said just earlier, oh, well, with Marvel and like the Mufasa and the Wicked stuff, they use that stuff. But guess what? You can do that in your house too. Maybe not at that caliber yet. Maybe somebody can. But in Mandalorian, which P says in the chat. But yep. How do you? He got kicked out again, folks. That is not me. I promise you, it is not me. It's not me. It's not me. It's not me. Well, let's just get back to it. How does it get to somebody's hands in the household?
I mean, it's I mean, obviously, like the mechanical aspects of that is you go to the website and download it as long as you have a good enough computer. But how did something like this powerful become to be so ubiquitous or potentially ubiquitous is I don't know. I think Fortnite has a lot to do with it when you think about the fact that this company that's been around for a decent number of years came up with this game that suddenly started pumping billions of dollars into the ecosystem. They could start to play a longer game at that point, right? They could start to look more into the future. They could sacrifice immediate revenue for future revenue and future opportunity. And the immediate revenue was coming from Fortnite. And so that's kind of what I imagine to be kind of like what makes Unreal Engine something that you can have on your computer today is part of that ecosystem. Like that trigger of Fortnite creating that money allowed the company to reevaluate, not only fund all of this innovation, but also like say, nah, we don't need your money, education. Just learn it so that you could be productive with it later. And and the cycle will continue. So it's pretty cool.
And it's a pretty amazing tool where you can just access it and just learn it. It for the most part, at least to my knowledge, there's no like, okay, well, a price point where you have to pay for. I'm sure there's somewhere in there. I haven't dug that far into it yet, but you can just get in and just learn it and get started with it. I haven't dug that deep into Unreal to where you might have to pay for some stuff.
Yeah, generally, if you have to pay for it, you can afford it. That's is kind of the idea there. It's like education currently doesn't have a price. They did start. They announced a couple of years ago at Unreal Fest that they're going to start charging more, like for commercial licenses than they were. Mm-hmm. So they're implementing some revenue model for things like film and television. There's no like game distribution like the Epic Games Store where they can take a percentage of your sales and get percentages of these popular games revenue. If someone uses their tool to make a movie and they're not embedded in the contract to share in any of that, then they essentially just gave away all of that capability.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's switch gears real quick. So we're talking about, which I know you're famous for, and a lot of people are famous for, at least pushing it out there, is the Rube Goldberg. What exactly is it? I know what it is, but I have a hard time explaining it to people what it is. So in Brian's terms, what is Rube Goldberg?
I think the Rube Goldberg is a person. He was a cartoonist and an inventor, and basically he would and he had a sense of humor. So he would make up cartoons that were the most ridiculously complicated and humorous ways to accomplish the simplest tasks. So if you want to like pour a drink and the drink is on the table next to you, you might step on the cat's tail. The cat will run and bump into the switch is on the vacuum sucks the curtain does the whatever, and the chain reaction, and then the thing falls over and you have a drink poured for you. Like that's the more silly and funny it could be, the better. And that's really the legacy that he left behind, was challenging people to kind of use it as a form of entertainment and creativity, but also has a lot of engineering connections.
I knew somebody was about to say, I was about to say it, but Miles beat me to it. The Pee Wee Herman one. And that's how I explain it. But when you explain it to another generation, like who is, first of all, they need to know who Pee Wee Herman is. I'm like, okay, just know that when a person, he got up in the morning, a blanket pulls him off, he gets up and making like the dog comes and makes toast, or it turns on the button and things move around. You could have already done that within the first 2 seconds, but you're off doing something else. I mean, I don't want to insult anybody's intentions, but it's like if you see like coding in real life and you want to move stuff around by hand, like, how you have the blocks and all that kind of stuff. That's kind of how I look at it. But it could be teamed too much that way. Like you could have just gone ahead and poured the water yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
but you want to do it this way. So that's a good analogy. Both of you guys had a really good analogy. So I want to, in these next 30 minutes, and while I'm asking all these other questions in here, I want to switch gears so we can see what Unreal Engine does with Rube Goldberg. Are we able to do that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, want me to share screen?
Yeah, share your screen.
Okay. Switch to.
Now, first off, before we get into anything, this is the part. This is the part where I know people will freak out. I don't freak out, but maybe a typical educator. And I don't mean to stereotype educators or any other adults. Like, what are we seeing here on the screen?
Right. Okay. So, more importantly, like, let me do this because this is what I want you to. This is what I want you to see and think. This is why the Rube Goldberg kit was designed in the way that it was to, first of all, if you're an educator or even a student, we want you to remember playing in the sandbox. We want you to, I literally have like, this was like the thing that it's like the one thing my kids won't let us get rid of is like this play school house. And I remember toys like this growing up too. And so what we wanted to do was create an environment that was like, hey, let's have some fun. Let's not put all the rules of how we're supposed to do and be embarrassed about expectations and stuff like that. And let's go in here and let's just play because this is an environment where we're here to have fun. So that was the purpose of the design. We've taught hundreds and hundreds of educators on these technologies, and it's hard. It is hard. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it and just be like, hey, you should be good. Or people are like, I'm not a gamer or whatever. But the reality of the situation is if you haven't developed this dexterity and this muscle memory, then it's going to be hard. Like, it comes with practice.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things you should celebrate about the kids, the students that are good at these things. Like, they have developed a skill over years of work that this is not a barrier for them, right? So they have lowered their barrier on some of these technologies through the work that they've done through play.
They're not intimidated. They just walk right on in, whether it's a Discord or an application. It's so funny. They just walk right in and just do it. And if they don't like it, they walk right on out, and they'll try it again later, and they keep it moving. That's the amazing part of this generation.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion.
I don't know. I think back to like when I was a kid, nervous to step up to those computers. I think they, there's a certain amount of nervousness and a courage that does need to be built up, but there's certainly a lot of accessibility to it, so it's not so hard. Like you can play on your parents' phone or your iPad kind of privately and make mistakes and learn independently without people watching over you, without the pressure of a job and stuff like that. So they have some freedom. That's true. But from an educator standpoint, we wanted to first of all say, first of all, it's Rube Goldberg, so it's fun. It's funny. It's whimsical. It's creative. It's iterative. And so we want you to know you're here to have fun based on the way we designed this environment. So Cleverlike created this entire learning kit: the projects, the design, the models, the student guides, the videos, and even the slides, supplemental slides to go with it that explain what the 6 simple machines are. And also, is that Scotty? Hey, Scotty. So the project files themselves. So let me show you kind of what this looks like. I use an analogy a lot about these kinds of things. I talk about a can opener, right?
Okay.
To me, it's the best one I've come up with. I'm open to other ideas, but I think of like, listen here. If you looked at a can opener, you might have no clue what it is, what it does, right? I'm going to show you this. You grab it like this, put on a can, turn it, and then the can's open. Check that out. How cool is that? And I feel like if I show you that, I don't have to show you that again. You may have not known what to do with it at first, but now you do, and I don't have to show you that again. I feel like a lot of these techniques and skills are very much like that for kids, right? They have this really great foundation, and you just gotta kind of know they have to know what these different can openers do.
Right.
And so that's kind of what we try to embed in the work that we do. So in this case, this kit is geared very much towards iteration. And so we're talking about moving yourself and moving objects in three-dimensional space as like the foundation. Like if you can't do that, you're going to hate it. You're not going to learn. I can't move. I can't. Every time I do a thing, it does whatever. I can't go. I don't know where I am. I can't find this thing. So if you can't move yourself and you can't move objects, then you can't learn. Like that's what and for educators that are just getting into this the first time, or any student that hasn't built this kind of muscle memory, it's hard. So we built this kit as a way to iterate on that in a fun way, right? So here's the challenge. We press play with level 1 loaded. This is about inclined planes, and the ball drops and absolutely nothing happens. So there's always this big cool thing, and then you press play and you get absolutely zero payback for all of your hard work. Right? And so we're like, okay, there's a problem. Let's solve it. And so we show you how to go find out where your different objects are that you're working with, and you're starting to get more comfortable with the interface the more you do these things. But we're going to intentionally like tell you where things are, so that because we're trying to get you comfortable in the environment. So we're going to have you do multiple things. So we say in the geometry folder, there's inclined plane, drag it out onto the table, and you could see wherever I let go of it, there's like a little yellow line over here coming down from this dropper. And so I made it so that the cheese was right below that line. And you can see here this little thing with the arrows. A shout out to the 80s movie Gremlins, because this thing is called a gizmo. And cool thing about gizmos is once you understand how they work, super powerful, right? So you could imagine this arrow moves this object up and down, this one side to side, front to back. Right? And they're also pointing in the direction. So they give you the visual cue on where it's going to move. So the gizmo is super important. That's how you're moving objects in the space here. You'll notice that I keep moving myself through the space here, which takes a little bit of work to get used to, because you'll notice like I'm looking forward and kind of going right to left. And if I want to look at that cheese wedge, I might look this way and then scooch left and back to zoom in on it, right? So I have different techniques for moving myself around and my camera around to see.
Yeah, I like how you're not restricted to like, okay, I only got to be like this level or this level in order to do it. Like you were like on the countertop.
Exactly. Yeah. And you could get as close or as far. You could also speed the camera up, slow the camera down. So we make a lot of jokes in our professional developments about, like it's kind of like Happy Gilmore putting, like if you feel like that level of frustration, then you probably have a camera speed issue where your cameras are too fast, and so you start to diagnose what's the frustration, what's causing it, and how do you fix that, right? And so do that for yourself and provide that to your students. So in this case, I'm going to press play.
Okay.
And you can see the ball came down. It used the inclined plane to roll down. Unreal is a physics engine, so it's showing us gravity. The ball is interacting with surfaces, and you could see over here we have like bucket A. The challenge is to get the ball into bucket A, and so, well, it's facing the wrong way, right? So the question is like, okay, Bradford, like, what do I need to do with the cheese to get the ball to go to bucket A?
Turn it,
right? And so there is a tool called rotate. It turns my gizmo into this cool little rotate gizmo where I can now grab this flat axis, which is the yaw, and it'll rotate 90 degrees on the table. And when I press play, the ball
There's an issue. There's a problem.
Exactly.
I'm already frustrated. It was supposed to land on the cheese. I mean, these are real things. This is what really people are gonna say to me. I'm being kind with how I say it. But like people are gonna expect, well, the ball fell on the side. It's supposed to fall on the cheese. So now what's next? What are we supposed to do? I mean, of course I know that.
Yeah. So like that's what you, as the educator, you can make sure that the students are being prompted towards these solutions. And so obviously like you got to make the ball hit the cheese, right? So you can move the cheese back over and then press play. And then we have this amazing result that will take us, 5 minutes to see the output of. So what's the problem?
It didn't hit the bucket. It didn't move fast enough.
Okay.
I'm talking like a little kid.
Yeah. How can we get it to move faster?
Why are you putting me on blast?
I already told you, Bradford, you don't get to run the software, but you will be put to the test.
Maybe we stretch out the cheese.
Yeah. So we show you a thing called a widget, which is what I clicked on. It's this little wireframe thing here that's his size right there. And when I click on that, we now have kind of like a mathematical control over the cheese. So if I bring it up, it makes it taller. And one interesting thing about this one, because you figure like, oh, if I make it steep, it goes super fast, right? So let's press play. And I got into bucket A.
Huzzah.
Not too bad, right? So of course, like this is constant disappointment, that was good. That was good. But have you gotten into bucket B yet? Right. Mm-hmm. So of course you see bucket B there, you see it's a little further away. So what do you think we have to try to do to get it to bucket B?
I would make it a little bit more steep.
Yeah. So one of the things so if you have a robotics club or, you work with kids in robotics, like you teach robotics students to like read the rules, follow the rules, but don't be constrained to anything that's not the rules. And so like these robotics kids might be like, okay, what if I just move the bucket over here and then it's in bucket B, just like you asked? Okay, new rule.
That part.
You can't that part. But good for you for thinking out of the box, right? So and then you think like some people might move this dropper over to the bucket as well. And I like to leave those things sitting out there to see which kids are thinking outside of.
You're designing. It's a designing tool. Mm-hmm. So why not? Because I would say in the classroom, we're not in the physical classroom. Again, stereotyping. Don't mean to. We wouldn't be thinking that way. I think in this platform where you showed everything that we could do in this platform. We can move stuff around. I would probably say, I'm just going to pick up the bucket and leave it in the air and move it over here. It's right there. Why not? We're in a totally different world. So why not? It's possible in this world. It's not possible in the world that we're in, but it's possible here. But we didn't explain that to them yet because we didn't say, well, this is real world.
Well, and if the rules tell you, if there are rules and they don't tell you not to do that, then technically you can, right? And so
absolutely,
I think that's healthy and I like to reward people that do that. Like, hey, good for you. That's very creative. Now try it with it. Like, let's make a new rule where you can't do that. So I like to acknowledge and reward people that kind of push limits a little bit because that's, I think, where creativity and innovation kind of happen. So why not encourage it rather than like forcing people predict what's the expected outcome and everybody do the same thing. I like, people are pushing for different options.
Right.
So the cool thing about this is like on this widget, I made it as kind of as steep as it will go at this moment. And when we press play, it doesn't quite make it. Now, if we're troubleshooting this, you could see it kind of drops not quite to the top of the cheese. Like, so let's try to get it like as close to the steepest part as possible or the highest part as possible and see if it makes it to bucket B. barely.
And
so it's funny because I got an email from a student about this specific thing, and so I was like, okay, that's interesting because you think about, and I was like, how can I explain this? And I pictured it as like it's snow where we are, so I picture it as sledding, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're trying to get like far distance, would you want to sled down this hill? Like, what do you think would happen if you sled down this steep of a hill and hit the bottom that was perfectly horizontal? You'd spill your hot cocoa.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Right
Now
it's too steep and there's too much loss of that momentum, like when you hit the surface. But if we do something like this, we don't have quite that abrupt impact on the horizontal surface. And somebody got in trouble for cheating on this one. Let's press play on this one and see if we can get there. Almost. Right. So it gets a little bit closer. And so you could figure out like, do I need to make this even taller? Does it matter where the ball is? Like, so if I can't touch the bucket, but what other things can I impact on? So let the students be creative about it. Sometimes people like, lift up the cheese and do stuff with it, and what the heck, like, who knows? Maybe that's a new option. But there is another tool that you could use that is will allow you to scale it even further. So if you want to mess around with that, you can, and that's a scale gizmo. And if you press play on that,
now we made it in there. It's not in my mind. I'm channeling back to when I was teaching this in 4th grade, and I know we probably don't have time to do this, but my mom was thinking, well, why not change the texture or the surface of the cheese?
Yeah.
Is that possible in here to do?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to put you on blast right now to do it because I don't know if that's too complicated to show you. But my mind's like, well, why don't we put some oil on it? Make it slick.
Bradford. What isn't this like a E for everyone stream here?
It isn't.
Okay.
Oh my God. That's not what I was.
Okay.
Cooking oil.
Yes, exactly. We're in the kitchen. I know. That's what I was thinking. So we have a thing called physical materials, right? So it's interesting that you say that. Like why can't I and this is perfect too, because you're like, why can't I affect this object in a different way?
Mm-hmm.
And so the question kind of becomes like, how curious are you about that? Like, did you really want an answer, or did you just want to did you just want to ask the question? Right. So there actually in our robotics learning kit, there's a physical material that we use on there's a third point of contact. So you have your two wheels, and then there's like a ball that is kind of like low friction kind of surface to be your third point of contact. And we did put a physical material on that, and that eliminates friction in the way this works. So it is possible for us to modify the ball itself, as well as the cheese or the table surface, to have different levels of friction. So like, for instance, the ball will just never stop rolling.
Okay.
If there's no friction. And so I don't know how that's probably beyond the scope of what we want to do in this. But
that would be for a deeper dive. I don't because I that's why I didn't want to say anything quite yet.
Yeah, but it's a great, like, that question is perfect because it does unravel, like it reveals an area of learning. And if you're the kind of kid, that's the other thing, like what's cool about Unreal Engine is it's like, oh, I'm not a programmer, not interested. No. Like, are you an artist? Are you a storyteller?
Mm-hmm.
Are you a planner? Are you a programmer? Are you interested in simulation? Are you interested in marketing? Are you a business person? Are you an entrepreneur? What are you? Because there's a niche in here that you could kind of focus in on
Right.
and go deep into.
Because I gave the concept an idea and you executed it. And so for me, again, I was channeling back to the science class, because in the science class we would have used different textures. So we would have done this, but then we were like, okay, so what if we, did sandpaper? What if we would have, put plastic on top of it? And we would have done different variables. So actually we would have had different wedges of cheese to simulate this to this experiment. That's again, going back when I was a science teacher, that's how we would have done it. So when I was thinking about the texture, that's what came to mind.
Yeah, and that's interesting. Like this one here is let's see, the physical material. So this is, I'll show you the attributes of a physical material, which is one of them that's in the project. You could see that you have a friction value.
Okay.
You have a restitution. So this particular material is called bounce 100. So it's basically super duper bouncy. When something hits it, it's gonna respond with even more force rather than dampening the response. It's gonna amplify it. So so when this material interacts with something, it's going to change the physics calculations according to the rules that are set up here. And that's the job of a physical material. So yeah, let me see if I can. Yeah, it's going to be a little too too much. But yeah, that's exactly the idea, that you can modify the physics of things as well. It's very cool.
Miles was asking, how do you get to all the stuff you see from the Unreal Engine opening page? Like, how do we get all of it?
Yeah. So, okay. So this would be a good moment for anybody that's interested. So, so let's talk about the fact that like this Rube Goldberg Learning Kit has 6 different activities because there's 6 different simple machines, and so each activity is based on one of the simple machines. And then there's like a culminating activity, which is like put them all together and make something wacky. And again, like accomplish a simple task. So this year's competition, so there's a Rube Goldberg competition. February 12th is the deadline for entry. So it's going on right now. And basically, you use the learning kit to create some machine using all of the resources, and then submit that to the competition. So it's a great opportunity if you have students that are either in a club, or you have a certain class that you're teaching, or somebody at home, or you're even like a professional that wants to kind of get on the map, I guess, because this is a global competition, and we're going to be reviewing and awarding winners. The 2 top teams are winning laptops provided by Intel, and
wow.
Yeah, so there's just some serious competition there. But so let me show you. I'll put in the chat. Like, this is one good place to get started is if you go to our website. I'll put it in.
So anybody can go in and do this contest, no matter what age or no matter what organization, or like, are there any barriers? I want to be clear just to make sure.
Absolutely, yeah. It's open. There's a 17 and under and an 18 and over category. The teams is maximum teams of 2, mm-hmm. and yeah, like and an individual person should only be on one team, and so yeah, that's the way that's going to be. That's the way that's going to be done. And so if I clicking on the web page, you could see here that we have. This is one of our reveals.
Don't worry, there's no sound, you guys. So this is a full-fledged Rube Goldberg, what this would look like.
This is the challenge for the year. Feed a pet. Right. So we included some extra assets this year, which is the dog food, or actually the food bowl or the food box, that as it tilts a certain degree, the food starts to spill out of it. So you can set it in your world, and when it gets bumped over, it'll spill the food out. And then the bowl, which is customizable. So we put Doggo as the name, but you could name it and color the bowl however you choose. And then if you want to be creative, like what are you feeding? That's up to you and your storytelling and your sense of humor to determine. But you could register at the Rube Goldberg website, which is provided here. And the assets, the box and the bowl, could be downloaded here. And the learning kit for Unreal Engine, that's kind of the question is, how do I get to all this stuff? So I clicked on that link to get to like lesson 1. And you could see here, we have the download course assets, which is going to take us to Fab, which used to be the Unreal Marketplace, but now basically it's a storefront where you can get it for free. And that's how you download the project. And then all of the teacher and student guides are here. And these are really nice PDFs that are annotated to show you all the things that we basically just went through for this activity are kind of all in here, really nicely labeled and annotated. So
amazing.
That is the way that goes. Another cool thing, when you click on the download the course assets, if you don't have Unreal Engine, if you don't have even Epic Games Launcher, you can go to epicgames.com and create an account, and then they have a launcher program that is what you could use to install Unreal Engine. And then this allows you to download projects into Unreal Engine and launch it that way. So I am running the Unreal Engine launcher. I don't want to run it right now, because if I do, I'm going to run Rocket League, and I know Miles is here, so I'm going to hold him accountable for joining me. And, we're going to pull Scotty in, and then this whole thing, then I'm going to miss everything else that I had planned for this evening. So we're going to not run the Epic Games Launcher. But this nice little link here on this project is is another great resource, because Epic kind of took all of the learning and kind of packed it into the Epic developer community as a course. And so you could see all the info. And then if you click on these little left nav, you could see videos, our video walkthroughs done by Ian Southwell, our creative director, and our Unreal Gold level training partner. And all the video walkthroughs, and then the links to the student guides, facilitator guides. So just want educators to know that, like, we have done everything we can to be that person that's sitting next to the student, telling them what to do and how to do it. And you just have to be the one that gets them in the chair, gets the computer running, and helps them get started, and keep them accountable.
So where should an adult or educator, because this is a lot. I mean, I'm just keeping it real. This is a lot. This is a lot.
It's unreal.
It's unreal.
You can't keep it real.
But where should an educator start first? Like, day one, hour one, first minute. Like where to go first? Where should we go first?
Yeah. I would, I encourage people, like, if anybody wants to reach out to us, like we have a contact form on our website. That would be like, we'd be happy to kind of point you in a direction of, like, what's your scenario, who the kids you're working with, what are the outcomes you're going for, and kind of walk you into those scenarios. There's, like Miles is saying, he felt like he had to do the first hour of UEFN. Yeah. And I'm curious, like, if you felt like that was, it took him 2 weeks to go through it. So I'd never recommend that as the first thing to do personally, because a lot of these, hey, their first hour, let me show you where everything is and stuff like that. And there's no connection to, like, why am I doing this and what's the value? And so for me, I'm like, if you're just getting started and you want to learn the basics, like this, like Rube Goldberg is going to be a challenge, but it's also going to be foundationally like a better exercise for what you want to do. It's not going to teach you all of the things. It's going to iterate you on what's important, and then you're gonna spiral out and expand into more. There's some other really good activities that we have experience with that we didn't make that we could recommend as well. So it just depends, and also like there's a tool called Twin Motion that's amazing. Like and there's no coding in it, and so it's another great way to get started. If you want to get kids to understand what this environment is like and get them comfortable in the environment without too much overwhelming sense of all of these features. So that's why there's like no one answer to that, but tell me who you are, who you're working with, what you're trying to accomplish, and we can definitely point you in the right direction.
I agree with that 100%. And don't feel like you have to control it all. And then that's one thing teachers, we have to let that control go. But take things slow, step by step. And even if you don't register for the challenge, just look and see what's there to offer, and contact the people at Cleverlike.
So yeah, Miles has been posting some videos of his students working on dirt bike tracks in Fortnite. What I love to see about that is I love to see, first of all, like the individual creativity, and I could see kind of like the embedded struggles that they're going through based on the work that they are doing. Like I know where the challenges are, but I also am like, yes, like they're overcoming these obstacles. They're learning these things in middle school, like this environment design, these techniques and tools. They're building a skill set that they don't even know about yet.
And imagine what that will look like when they reach 12th grade, which is the conversation that we had way back. Like if they start this in 6th, 7th, 8th grade, by the time they're doing this in 12th grade, it's going to look completely different. Even the technology will change then, but what they'll be doing in 12th grade is going to look vastly different. That I think James O'Hagan was saying it in that LinkedIn thing. It looks like a 3D version of Excite Bike. Imagine what that will look like if they do something like that their senior year, and the tech has changed, but their skill set has evolved even more, and they could put that in the portfolio and say, this is the stuff that I'm doing now. What I did back in 7th grade is completely
totally. Yeah. I mean, we need to scaffold the learning better in video games in education, because
that is another conversation. And you gotta leave in a few. You gotta leave in a few.
I'm good. I mean, it depends when you want to get me out of here. I got you good.
Well,
me for at least 20 minutes.
Whatever
you need.
You can get on your soapbox. We all can get on our soapbox.
Yeah, I know you're trying to have fun here. I guess.
But it was. I mean, this is all about creating those games and game-based learning. That was a big. You added that question, so I'm gonna let you have the floor about it. I'm giving you that platform now so you can preach. But
my gosh, what a pal.
When I was doing my internship with you, we had that discussion on how do we approach game-based learning and game-based creation, and your stance is looking at this from a game-based creation standpoint. So what is that difference? What we're seeing here, what do you call this?
Okay. Game-based learning, right? Game-based learning is you play a video game to learn about something. So I play Oregon Trail to learn about westward expansion, and I get this empathetic approach to like, oh, I get to make this decision and die, and then do it again, and then make another decision, and then fail some other way. Like I'm learning about this thing through video games. But the scenario is kind of like when the kids go home, what's the game that they want to play? What's the game they want to play with their friends? They want to play Minecraft. They want to play Fortnite. They want to play Roblox, right? So to the extent that these games are, so how do we classify them? And even like Lego Fortnite, it becomes it's a sandbox game, which it's a creative space. It's a fun space. It's there's ways to tell stories rather than learn and go through experiences. So you get to be the one that's creating the experience rather than someone else creating it, you running through it. And so game-based creation is, how do I use a video game to create a work product that I could use? And more importantly, like, how could I use a video game today, in third grade, to do my third grade homework in a way that's going to get me more prepared to do this Rube Goldberg thing later, right? And so what I see is kind of like, oh, you like Minecraft? Cool. You like building blocks and stuff? And like, the educators and parents are like, I don't know what the kids see in this thing. The graphics are so bad. Like, why do kids like this? Like they don't get it, and they don't try to get it, but they know the kids want to be in it and they want to play with it. They understand how it works. And so they build a routine around that process. And so we take a survey, like, how old do you think a kid is when a parent hands the phone to them and they play Minecraft on it?
That's a good question.
Throw maybe if they got people in chat, throw in chat, like, what age do you think a parent would hand a phone to a kid and have them play Minecraft?
Please answer that question if you can. That's a very good question. Not just giving them a phone, but giving them a phone to play. Oh my God, 4?
Absolutely.
5? Oh my God.
Yeah. Right. So here's the thing, right? These kids are developing this skill and dexterity and the schema at like 4 or 5 years old. And that's the idea of like playing Minecraft to place blocks and break blocks, right? And so now you fast forward to like a high school build battle competition in Minecraft. You have high school kids competing on a big platform against other kids in the act of mechanically sitting at the computer, interacting with the computer, mechanically doing the same skills. Right? They have 10 years of opportunity lost in my mind. Like, they could be playing Minecraft by, how do I learn more about models and textures and animation and keyframes and all those things inside the game, so that by the time 10 years down the road, I have a really good understanding of these technologies.
You guys in the chat, you're actually giving me something to really think about now. So when I give a device to a kid now, because like my kids didn't get a device until they were like, what, late middle school, high school, but that was obviously to talk on the phone. But now I'm thinking, okay, if you're going to give a device, you're going to give them a device to work, not just to watch them. So it's almost like, don't give them, take the phone part app away, take even the YouTube app part away. And here are the apps that you're going to be working with. That's actually pretty interesting, because I'm seeing all this. They're 5, 7, and 4, and now they're 19, 21, and they could do these things now. So that's actually a challenge. If I'm going to give my child this device, I'm giving them apps where they are going to build and code and create some stuff. And then later on, okay, I'll put some other stuff on there. I never looked at it that way. I looked at it that way.
I mean, you can, and let's not discount the value of esports and just playing a game,
right?
And being social. Like, so I assume, I always walk with the assumption of all of that value, because that value is huge and applies to lots of games. And for us, game-based creation falls into a sliver, and it connects to like these mechanical software skills, right? So you're in this environment, you understand 3D, you can move yourself through a 2D interface into a 3D world with so much natural sense about you. Like, that skill you could transfer into something else. Like, if I was modeling something, sculpting something, designing a landscape, telling a story, working on a building, designing a future city, like, there's these tools translate. And what's cool is I've seen it, like, being around. Like, I started my Minecraft club in like 2013 maybe, so it's been over 10 years. Minecraft's been around for 15 years, but I had the business since like 2018 is when we started publishing content in Minecraft. And since then, like some of the younger kids that we've worked with, they've gone off to college to become architects and become civil engineers, and they're transferring those skills as those career skills in Minecraft into career skills in the future. So they weren't just playing Minecraft; they were actually like building and working and planning ratios. They were like, okay, so this building is this, so we have to do blocks on this ratio this way, planning it out, building. So they were taking it to a level beyond just playing the game. It was cool.
That is very cool. The comments you guys are saying in the chat are I appreciate it. Thank you. But yeah, just I never thought about looking at it in that way when you're giving a device to a young kid. I'm just walking in stores and I see kids just watching videos. I'm not shaking my head or anything, but if you're flip it and look at it to where I'm giving you this device to build and create. Yeah, I'm gonna give you some things to play games on, but I want you to use this device for this. To play this. This device costs like $600 or $700, so you better do something with it.
Right, but you can't have that conversation with a kid because they don't care about it, right? And
it
doesn't have any context. So here's the interesting thing. I was telling you the story about that little program that was running on the computer, and I wrote it down on a piece of paper. Like, do you know how many times I wrote that same program?
How many times?
Over and over?
Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times.
Yeah, like I just wrote that program over and over, and eventually started to expand my knowledge and skill because it was the only thing I had. And so, and I didn't really know what else was available, and I needed that input. I needed that motivation. And if you look at kids like with YouTube, a lot of times YouTube is that nudge to the next level. Like, hey, let me show you a redstone contraption that does this, and let me show you how to make it. And then all of a sudden, now they're making that over and over again. It's if you've ever like learned how to solve a Rubik's Cube, anytime you see a Rubik's Cube, all you want to do is go and solve it, right? Because you want to show off like what you're capable of. And so I looked at that, like, I get it, but I also could see the same kid week after week show up at my space at the Minecraft Club and do the same thing over and over again. And I'm like, I'm sure everyone around you is impressed by that, but I'm getting tired of seeing this. And I know you're stuck in a rut and you need somebody to help guide you to expand the next level, right? And all the adults around don't really know that. They're like, wow, I don't know. He made a whoop-de-whoop and it was amazing. Really blew my mind. And like, sometimes it's like the free thing that comes in the game that they didn't do anything for. Like, there's not enough knowledge of the environment.
But the thing is with the adults don't need to know it. They just have to be that thought partner and ask the question. So like, even like when my son comes in, he's like my thought partner. Like he may not know some things, I may not know some things, but just I need another brain to just help me. Oh, I didn't figure that out because I was thinking about it by myself. But since you're in here and asking me questions that I never thought of,
yes,
now I figured it out.
Isn't that great? Yeah, that's it. It's asking the question. Like, so the Mind Fair show that we went to, I ended up like having a show on the main stage that was all about like getting parents to interact with their kids, because I would just watch the I have no idea. I am not a gamer. I'm not a whatever. Like, it's basically like, what you're doing is completely irrelevant to me. And, I don't think parents or, mentors should be sending that signal. They should be like, wow, you're like super motivated and interested in this. It looks like you're pretty good at it. Like, what are you doing? Like, what is that? And if you ask those questions and help be that thought partner, you just by asking questions, you provide value, on that level.
Like, what would happen if you move that block there? I'm not sure. I don't know much about Minecraft, but what happens if you just move that, I don't know, that brown block there, just, and the kids may say, oh, mom, dad, you don't know what you're talking about, but just to ask, just to see and watch, that's why I like I was saying just an hour beforehand, getting on Marvel Rivals, I was asking my son questions like, what is this? What is this? I haven't even played it yet. And he was telling me, do this, do this, do this. and there's an AI feature on there. Go away now. Are you winning, son? There's an AI feature on there, and he was explaining me how that functions. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that. I mean, I just thought you were just playing to be playing. You know, and he walked me through it because he's already at level 14. I'm like, dang it, when you do that? Oh, I just been doing whatever. So I ain't got time for that. I'm doing all these other things. But it's the conversation. Oh my God. It's the conversation and just simply asking questions, no matter how crazy they are, to get that brain to start thinking.
Yeah, it's just that level of interaction means so much. That collaboration. That's why, like, when you watch kids, when kids are consuming content like YouTube and stuff like that, you know, it has to definitely be monitored, and an adult has to be able to help kids use those tools effectively. But as content, it is a pipeline. It is an input. It is a possibility. If it's used properly, it can freshen your perspective on things and maybe push you to do something more. And so, it's, you know, you can't say, I gave you this $600 thing, you better do something great with it. Like,
oh, that's true. You're right. And I said
get away with that. I mean, you want that. And so, like, that's kind of what we try to do, is like, we know what the parents want. I wish you would give this much attention to your homework. I wish you would do whatever. I hope you're gonna, like, not just rot in the basement or whatever. Like, I hope you're gonna get a job. Like, there's all these things that parents are kind of like thinking, and maybe educators are hoping for, like, in the work that they do. They want to create these wonderful contributors to society. And so, like, how do you get there when kids are so fixed on this? A lot of the tendency is like, that's a distraction, that's taking you away from what we're trying to do here now. That we need to get rid of that so you could focus on the matter at hand. But it's like, I don't know, like, you have their attention, you have their motivation. Like, what you need to figure out is like how you could put the cheese in front of them and slide it across the table. We have some ideas. You gotta meet them where they're at. That's how I got my son to oh my God. you got to meet him where they're at. That's how I got my son to enjoy reading. I mean, he's not a big avid reader, but when he was in elementary school, like, just to get him to connect with reading, we did it through games. Yeah.
And I had to ask him those questions. So there y'all go with the clips. I can't wait to see. Y'all trying to get me canceled.
I mean, it's like Disney does this kind of humor. We didn't say anything wrong.
I ain't the one. I'm not gonna be a part of that group. Okay. Oh my God, P. Oh my God, I'm so scared.
Yeah, Miles is on tomorrow, right? So forget about it. Get your bleep button ready.
I don't have a bleep. Yes, I do have a bleep button. I don't think it matters. I might have to do my warning thing that I did with my charity thing.
Miles is good, clean, and wholesome all the way.
No, he wasn't. Not when we were talking in our meeting. but
yeah, I don't know. That it's really exciting stuff. So, like, thank you for creating this opportunity for us to chat about this.
Yes.
I think it's a really important conversation for people to question their initial response to video games, to YouTube, to whatever, and realize, like, what their role is, and how people like us are there to help them kind of sort it out so that they don't have to, like, achieve some level before they can do something proficient.
Absolutely.
They just have to know the right people.
And it's not intimidating. So at least to me, it's not. But I think you just starting what you laid out is very simple and very easy to understand. So to wrap it all up, Brian, where can we get all of this information? Where can we reach out? How can we connect with you?
I want everybody to, find us at www.cleverlike.com. And we are basically here to create that pathway. So if you have kids in Minecraft and want to find engaging activities that engage with the curriculum they're currently going through, but also developing these future career skills in that platform and moving on all the way into high school and college, we have something for all of that. We have an esports league, esports platform for middle school in Minecraft. We do things with Twinmotion in middle school. We do things with Unreal Editor for Fortnite. We do things for Unreal Engine. We do things in colleges with game jams. So whether you're in second grade or in, higher education, we have something for you and would love to help you sort that out.
Awesome. And he'll push you like he pushed me.
That was fun. You're a good sport.
We still got stuff to talk about though with that stuff. But,
we have some news on that front.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that. Posted. We'll talk about that later. But Brian, thank you so much. I don't know if you have to hop off and leave, but okay. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. I get
it. All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye. See ya. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude tonight's stream for our Computer Science Week Game Edition. I'm so glad that Brian showed us everything from Unreal Engine, and like I said, not too intimidating, right? Very simple. Getting you in there. There's a kit that you can check out. I'm going to put all that information into the descriptions when I edit all this later on, when all this is edited. But so preview for tomorrow. If you want to know why these past couple weeks, why I had to stop and pause, it is because of this person that you're going to see tomorrow. I don't know how this stream is going to go, but we got a doctor in the house. I'm a doctoral candidate, and so we actually have a doctor in the house with all of this stuff. So he's going to talk about storytelling through gaming. The Game Controller is the book. So Lord. Lord help us all, but it's gonna be fun. We had a great conversation, and so be ready to laugh. If you thought I was sitting here pausing because of the chat, and he said some Fortnite. I don't know how this is gonna go. I really, and I say that as being very excited because you guys get ready. He has done some amazing things. Everybody in this stream has done some amazing some work. So make sure that you are connecting with each and every one of them. So I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow at this. I can't with this chat. I can't with this chat. I will see you guys tomorrow at the same time with Dr. Miles Harvey. Take care, you guys. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Bradford Harris, also known as EdTech Tinker on social media. Thanks for watching my streams and connecting with me on your favorite social media platform. On my platform, I love sharing all things digital learning and fluency, STEM, esports, gaming, and so much more. Connect with me to like, follow, and subscribe at link.space/@EdTechTinker. From there, you can connect with me and subscribe to your favorite social media channels such as Twitch, LinkedIn, Instagram, and also my website, tinkertechedu.com. Make sure to follow me to stay up to date with the latest posts, streams, and video content. You can DM me for any networking, presenting, and professional development opportunities that are virtual or face-to-face. You can catch me live at least twice a month on some of your favorite platforms, but I'm always excited to show something very new and exciting just for you. So whatever your favorite platform is, you want to connect and go to link.space/@EdTechTinker. Follow, like, and subscribe. Excited to meet with you and chat with you. Talk to you soon.